Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I reported on my channel about 2 or 3 weeks ago that Kurtis was behind bars. He was arrested for aggravated assault, and it was against another female that he had laid hands on. And according to Kevin, this isn't the first time that he's laid hands on a female and ended up behind bars because of it. He said that this has happened multiple times before, and now it looks like Kurtis is out of jail and he's finally speaking out about the confrontation between him and Kevin, which caused Kevin to knock him out. So Kurtis is obviously out of jail now because he did a Facebook Live on Tuesday talking about this whole confrontation with Kevin, and we're going to summarize it in this video. So Kurtis said, "Oh man, that ish was crazy, right?" He said, "Everybody's wondering what the F. Look, if y'all ever been in the TV or film industry, then you just won't get it, I guess. But that was all in one take, and that dude had all the opportunity in the world, and he just took a sucker punch at me, as you can see. He threw a cheap shot at the very end after I had already loaded up in the truck." He then hints also that the scene may have been a bit scripted and Kevin's punch was not part of the script. He said, "Yo, that wasn't supposed to happen, obviously. I can't say too much, but that definitely wasn't supposed to happen, and he is a scumbag for that. He already knows it, and he's gonna lie about me on the internet, and that ish is foul." And he could only, say so much because technically he's still under contract. Hopefully he got paid for that, because that would suck to get knocked out on national TV for free. And he said, "I didn't know that dude before that day, because Kevin said that he recognized Kurtis from the streets. I guess he used to hang out with some people in the city that knew Kurtis as well." And so Kurtis claims he had no idea who Kevin was. He said he didn't know anything about him. He said that I was told 2 days prior to driving out to Texas to pick up Tiffany that this other guy was gonna show up anyways, and he wasn't mad. He was just gonna, and he was kind of like scrambling over his words. I think he's kind of trying to find the right way to say it without saying too much. He said, "I can't really say too much on here, but y'all get it." He said now he's just trying to bash me online, lying about all kinds of crazy ish that makes him look good for now, but when the truth comes out, that ish was temporary compared to what is going to happen. So what's going to happen is going to be permanent, and he don't realize that that little bitty buzz that he got from his very first cheap shot, like successful one. I mean, just imagine if I just randomly took off on a person that's completely unaware of a fight ahead of me. Like if you just walk up straight up to some stranger and tell him to put his hands behind his back, and then you do that. What do you all think of that, honestly? So it sounds like Kurtis is saying that either the producers or Kevin is the one who made him put his hands behind his back, because that was one of my questions, because he pretty much gave Kevin every opportunity to knock him out when he put his hands behind his back and just stuck his chin out like that. And if what Kurtis is saying is true, according to him, if they told him he had to put his hands behind his back, and if they told him that Kevin was going to show up, there's going to be some confrontation, I'm sure that Kurtis put his hands behind his back and just showed up trusting that the producers wouldn't let something like this happen to him. And I bet he was super surprised and shocked and somewhat frustrated when he woke up headfirst on the pavement, dazed and confused, and probably couldn't believe that they allowed this to happen, especially with the security officer right there. Kurtis just probably thought he was going to show up, pick up Tiffany, and him and Kevin were just going to be throwing third grade insults at each other back and forth. And he said, "So tell me what y'all think that someone tells you to put your hands behind your back and then you do that. What do y'all think of that? Honestly, genuinely, tell me about what y'all think about somebody provoking you nonstop on TV in front of a live audience and millions watching afterwards. What would you think? What would you do? I'm genuinely curious for some feedback, because I feel like it was so disgusting on another level. It's assumed that it's going to be that dramatic hit. I get it. Like, I get that little bit, but don't start lying about me online just to make it okay for you. That ish is terrible." And Kurtis went on to say, "So I was clearly confused on what even happened. As you can see on what's already aired, that's all I can really talk about. That whole in detail scene, that ish was disgusting. I mean, to tell someone to put their hands behind their back and then you sucker punch them, that is disgusting." So after this whole live with Kurtis, I even went back and rewatched the scene a few times to see if there was a part where Kevin or someone else told Kurtis that he had to put his hands behind his back, and that was never in the scene. So I don't know if Kevin or production told Kurtis to do that, or he's just making it up and just told him like, hey, we don't want a fight to happen, put your hands behind your back. But if I was in his shoes and they were telling me that I had to put my hands behind my back, or Kevin was telling him that, I'd be like, okay, you need to put your hands behind your back too, so it's fair game. And when I watch the scene, all we see is Kurtis making faces at Kevin, saying he looks like a third grader, and then he puts his hands near Kevin's face, and then Kevin telling him not to touch him or he'll knock him out, and then Kurtis said, go ahead and do it, and then the next thing we know, Kevin did it. And that's another reason why Kurtis can't press charges, because in the state of Texas, it's you give someone consent to lay hands on you and they do it, then you can't press charges on them because he gave consent. If he would have never said go ahead and do it, then he would have been fine pressing charges. And Kurtis didn't really speak on anything about Tiffany in his life, but it did, it was super confusing in the last episode because she decided to go with Kevin. Obviously her panties got wet for Kevin after seeing him knock out Kurtis, but she was like telling Kevin, well, I was planning on going to your house to begin with. When Kevin asked her, why were you having Kurtis pick you up, because she's like, well, I home planned to your house, so I was gonna still come to your house. He was just gonna give me a ride to your house, which that didn't make much sense, but I'm gonna do a whole another video recapping their part. But he did address Kevin. He says that he tried to reach out to Kevin and ask him what's up and ask him what the F was that all about, and he said, I just wanted to hear his input because apparently he's just like stuck in third grade. He's institutionalized and I don't even know the guy, and the only reason I think that he's saying he's institutionalized is Kevin spent 5 years in prison himself. Like 8 years ago he got out of prison after he was caught with a large quantity of meth, and he has also been in jail a few times for getting caught with marijuana as well. And that's pretty much all that Kurtis said. He did not address his recent aggravated assault charges whatsoever, but he is out of jail, so he has started a new job. I did have one of my subscribers send me pictures of Kurtis, and they said, dude, that dude that got knocked out by Kevin just started at my job, and I didn't believe it at first. And they sent me pictures of Kurtis, and it was Kurtis plain as day, and he just started at their job like a week ago. So Kurtis is working a new job, he's out of jail, and he's still super mad at Kevin for that sucker punch. So that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to give you a brief recap of his latest live since he finally addressed the knockout from Kevin. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.